What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we are taking a trip down memory lane for the year 2023 to discuss my favorite video games that came out this year. And so, this year overall was a insane year in many aspects, from the the amount of games that came out this year, and on the flip side also kind of being one of the worst years for people that work within the gaming industry, so layoffs and things like that. And we had just so many other just like crazy uh headlines and stuff that happened, which I'll get to in a second. But before I get into all that, as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Daddy's to Talk, it's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, TV shows, and of course, today's subject, video games. So, if you're into any of that stuff, make sure you're following your boy Rob on all social medias. Everything's available on YouTube for video stuff, or everywhere you can find podcasts for the audio version of this. So, like I said, 2023 was a exciting year as a fan, as a lover of video games. And so I kind of want to take some time today to just kind of look back on the year and just kind of shout out some of my favorite games that I got to play, and some of like the big headlines of the year, and just big moments in general. Because like I said, like when we kind of look back on it, or just kind of like looking at it on paper, 2023 is definitely one of the historic years in gaming history, kind of up there with 1998 and 2007, and I think 2012 was another kind of big year as well. But yeah, so just kind of just shouting out, because I kind of got this article pulled up with some of the um a few like big headlines I'm gonna read off in a second. But even though like me personally, I didn't get a chance to play as much stuff as I wanted to, just because life was busy and different stuff going on. But it was definitely a fun time as a fan to just kind of hear all the different conversations and the buzz of things going on throughout the year, because there's a lot of games that I feel like were kind of like dark horses that a lot of people didn't expect to be good, that exceeded expectations, stuff that kind of came out of nowhere. And then a lot of games that going into the year, people thought like, oh yeah, this would be a banger knock out the park. But some stuff just kind of came and went, or stuff came out and was worse than expected. A whole gambit of things. And so, like I said, I kind of want to just browse through like some of these, just like different. I'm trying to think. No, I'll save the headlines and stuff for a little bit later. So I guess I kind of want to just start off by just like shouting out. I got Game Informer's gaming calendar for the year, and I kind of just want to shout out some games that I know were kind of at least like big releases in general, even if I didn't personally play them myself. Let me see. So just kind of going through, and I forgot this game even released this year, even though I didn't really play it. But Fire Emblem Engage on the Switch, Forspoken, and this is in January, so I'm gonna go month by month. So I'm starting off in January. So Fire Emblem Engage, Forspoken, a awesome shadow drop that I really enjoyed. I'm gonna talk more about later. Hi-Fi Rush, the Dead Space remake, Season: A Letter to the Future. That was another one that I really enjoyed. Let's see, February. What did we get in February? Metroid Prime Remastered. I still never really played any of those games. But Hogwarts Legacy, that was a huge one this year that I'm going to talk about more later on my personal list. Wild Hearts. Man, it's going to be interesting reading through this list, because some of the stuff I forgot even came out this year. So yeah, Wild Hearts came out back in February. Atomic Heart, that kind of came and went. Like a Dragon Ishin. Um, of course, we also had the release of PlayStation VR 2, which also seemed to kind of come and go this year, but that released back in February, so there's a whole host of VR games and stuff for that. Uh, Let me see. Octopath Traveler 2, Destiny 2 expansion, Lightfall. Nothing else too much there that sticks out to me. Let's see, March, Wolong, Fallen Dynasty. Man, can't believe that was this year as well. The Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. Um, let's see. Just seeing what other stuff. That Bayonetta kind of spin-off game, Remnant from the Ashes. Oh, that was the Switch release. Chia. That's one I still want to kind of get back to and check out. Um, Let me see. Ooh, Last of Us Part 1 on PC. That was a doozy because that game came out with so many issues and stuff, but I think that they got it fixed, but I know that was kind of a rough release. Dredge, that's one I still want to go back and check out. Let's see, we're going into April. So for April, let's see. Nothing too much coming out that's catching my eye. Ghostwire Tokyo released on Xbox finally after the year of exclusivity. Minecraft Legends. Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores expansion. Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. Dead Island 2. That's one that my wife super had a lot of fun playing earlier in the year. And Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That's another one I'm going to talk about a little bit later on my personal list. So going on to May, started off with probably a humongous disappointment for a lot of people, which was Redfall. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That was a huge one. I didn't play it myself, but that of course can't go through this list without talking about that. Lord of Rings, Gollum, that travesty that came out. Okay, let's see. Moving on to June, Street Fighter 6. That was a big one. Diablo 4. What is something else? I heard this Aliens Dark Descent was a solid game. Pikmin 1 and 2 got a re-release on the Switch. Dave the Diver, AEW wrestling game. That's kind of it for June. July, I know. Oxenfree 2, man. I still need to go back and check out that game, man, because I really enjoyed that first Oxenfree game that came out many years back. So I definitely want to kind of check that out. So Oxenfree 2, Pikmin 4. Viewfinder was an interesting puzzle game. I played a little bit of it, didn't get too deep into it. Remnant 2, I know that was like a really big hit during the summer when that came out. The Telltale game, The Expanse, I had bought that and I started it. I want to go back and finish it. That Disney Illusion Island, that's a game that I still want to check out for me and Vash to play, because that look like our type of game. And Vimba, that's another one I want to check out too. Let's see, moving on to August. So, one that definitely kind of came out of nowhere for a lot of people was Baldur's Gate 3 was a big release then. This Atlas Fallen game looks like it might be kind of like a mid-tier okay game, but that one came and went. We kind of got these poor re-releases of Red Dead Redemption. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I know a lot of fans of Jet Set Radio enjoyed that one. That Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, my wife enjoyed playing that. Fort Solis looked interesting, but that kind of came and went. Same thing with Immortals of Avium. That one kind of was in such a shape that the studio pretty much like laid off half the people after that came out, unfortunately. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. That was a dope looking one. I still maybe want to check that out someday. Goodbye Volcano High, I want to get back to and check out. Sea of Stars, one of my favorite games I played this year that I'm going to talk about later on. Same with Under the Waves. And I think that's kind of it for the big ones for August. So September, let's see, Chance of Sonar was one that I enjoyed checking out the demo for. Oh, hold on. How did I miss? Because I just realized I've gone all the way down the list. Back in June, Final Fantasy 16. I don't know how I missed that one. But yeah, so going back to September, Starfield was a big one that I think didn't kind of go. It wasn't as big in some sense as a lot of people was expecting, but still did good. But just I think didn't reshape the industry like a lot of people thought it would. Eternites was an interesting one that I checked out. It was that studio's first game, so look forward to checking out more from that studio. Gunbrella, that was a very fun demo. I'm gonna talk about later on. Sir Thunder Ray was an interesting kind of like a modern take on a punch out game, punch out style game. Lies of P was super dope. Mortal Kombat 1 came out. Payday 3 came out, but kind of was met with a lot of, you know, people weren't too fond of how it launched with like a lot of server issues and stuff. Um, what else I was just looking at? Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty expansion came out. A lot of people dug that one. A Sonic Frontiers expansion, which I still heard that game is pretty good. Cocoon, one of my favorites I'll talk about later. Now, moving on to October, Assassin's Creed Mirage. Still want to check that out at some point. I know a lot of people weren't too hot on it, but I think it did pretty good. Detective Pikachu 2. Can't see too much else in October. Let's see, Sonic Superstars. Mario Wonder, of course, was a big one. Spider-Man 2, of course, Spider-Man 2. Like I said, those I'm going to talk about later on. I'm just kind of just blazing through this list. Ghost Runner 2. Jusant is another one I really want to check out at some point. November. The Invincible is one that really speaks to me that I want to get back to and check out. And just going through Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. Yeah, Super Mario RPG remake. And yeah, that's kind of it. And for December, we got that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora release, and those are kind of like some like the main ones that I wanted to kind of just shout out, like to just quickly going through that list or whatever. So, but yeah, overall, yeah, this was a pretty interesting year. So, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of dive into some of my favorite games this year. So I kind of broke this up in a few different sections. So I got the games that I played and finished, games that I started but hadn't finished yet, and stuff from this year. I have a bunch of demos that I checked out because that was one thing I was happy about this year was a lot more games putting out quality demos for their games and stuff, whatever. And then I have a few older games that I finally started for the first time that I want to shout out and stuff as well. So I guess I'll start off with the just running down like a few. How do I want to do this list? Let me see. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna shout out the demos first because this will be just some quick shout outs. So, Gunbrella was super fun, and I hope that it eventually comes to PlayStation and stuff because right now it's only on PC and Switch. But I played the demo for that one, and there's gameplay of it on my YouTube channel of me playing it. I think there's gameplay for most of these demos. I checked out, I think, on my YouTube channel. But Gunbrella is kind of like a side-scrolling, kind of like a action type of game to where you can basically play this guy that's kind of I'm trying to think. I think he is trying to track down his missing wife, if I remember correctly. Like I said, it's been a many months. A lot of stuff has happened, but the cool mechanic of the game is that you have this item that is called a gun umbrella. So it is literally a umbrella that is also a gun. It is super fun. I loved the couple hours I got to play with it or whatever. So that was super dope. Next up is a Chance of Sonar. That's another one I have video on my YouTube channel of, but this one was super interesting because it kind of focused on you kind of deciphering this language in the game to kind of solve these different puzzles. So you're kind of going through the world. There's no speaking dialogue. A lot of the dialogue is kind of done through these kind of like hieroglyphic type of images, and you have to figure out what those different images mean word or phrase wise, and then you put these words and phrases together to figure out how to solve puzzles, what the different conversations and stuff are. It's definitely a very interesting and unique game. So like I said, one I want to get back to and play the full game of at some point. Next up, Eternites. Eternites is a game that's kind of like a Persona style, like romance turn-based RPG, kind of like an action RPG kind of or whatever, to where you play as this main character who ends up getting this kind of like super powered arm, and you're fighting these infected monsters, people. What, like I said, once again, it's been many months, so my memory is fuzzy on it or whatever. But it was just like a very interesting game, and you have, of course, like a lot of like romance options, and some of like the dialogue and stuff was like very fun. It was just like a very fun game. I enjoyed playing the bit of the demo that I did for it, so I definitely look forward to checking out more of that game at some point. Next one is Final Fantasy 16. I'm glad that they put the kind of like the opening couple of hours in the demo, because I've never really played a Final Fantasy game too much, and so I really dug this demo and kind of made me interested in it at some point playing the full game. But that demo was super awesome because it showed the beginning of the game, and then it had kind of like a challenge thing that set up like way later in the game, so you have more of the abilities and stuff to kind of play around with and stuff. So shout out to them for that. Next one is Lies of P. This is another one that was playing the very beginning of the game. And I guess all of these I've named so far: Gun Brother, Chance of Sonora, Eternites, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P. These are all the very beginning of the game, which is super dope. But yeah, Lies of P was like immediately from just like, cause I thought this looking at the trailers or whatever, but like actually getting to play it, it immediately was like, oh yeah, this is definitely kind of like very heavy on the Bloodborne vibes, but with that Pinocchio world and setting and aesthetic put onto it or whatever. So that was a very fun one to play the demo for. The next one is Diablo 4. I've never played a Diablo game, so playing the demo for Diablo 4 was very interesting, and I really liked it. I put in like a handful of hours into that demo, and I was like, okay, I might open up my thoughts of possibility to maybe playing a Diablo game in the future. And then the last demo I want to shout out is Street Fighter 6. Once again, I'm not too big into fighting games, but this was still very fun to dive in and to try out and stuff. So yeah, so like I said, shout out to all those games and these companies for putting out actual meaty gameplay demos. Actually, there was another one called The First Descendant that I played a kind of like a demo for whatever that I really enjoyed. And then there was another game that I got to play, but this was more of a beta for or alpha access or whatever that I can't talk about. If you know of games that are coming out in early 2024 that had a beta for in the last month or so, you can probably guess what game I'm talking about. And I'll leave it at that. So, uh, okay. So moving on, I want to just shout out a few old games that I played for the first time this year. So, and I'm kind of doing this for myself, so I kind of know uh, old games that I checked out. So, the one that I played that I've put the most time in so far is Cult of the Lamb. Man, ever since I heard about this game last year, I was kind of like, that sounds like something I might be interested in, but I don't know. And Cult of the Lamb is basically kind of like a dark take on Animal Crossing in a sense, to where you have villagers, quote unquote, and you get to, like, plant crops, make little homes and stuff for them. Um, and you also are like gathering resources. Like I said, you're planting crops and stuff for food because you got to cook and feed the villagers and stuff, whatever, so that they stay happy, so that they'll go and pray to the altar and stuff to give you more powers and abilities and skills and stuff. And you're also going on like dungeon runs and stuff because basically you're trying to get more get more resources and to get stronger so that you can take out these kind of like four like demon lords or whatever. And I don't know, I think it was just the perfect time for me to play this game because it like really hit and has been a lot of fun. I've put in well over 10 hours of it so far, if not more. And so I'm definitely looking forward to playing more of that game. But yeah, Cult of the Lamb, super fun, super addicting. Um, Next up, the other game I finally played a few hours of was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, like I mentioned earlier with 16, I've never really played any Final Fantasy games. Like I had some close friends in college. Shout out to my friend Bree, who is really big into Final Fantasy. So I got to watch her a lot back in the day play some of the games and stuff, whatever, and hear her talk about them and stuff. But I've never really played any of them myself. But I know this 7 remake has been like highly coveted and praised and stuff. And so I will say, like, out the gate, the presentation and this remake came out what, 2 or 3 years ago at this point. So even now, this was still like one of like the best looking games I've seen in recent memory, and just like the presentation from like the cinematics, the cutscenes, and the voice acting, all that stuff, whatever, were super top notch. The only part that kind of slowed down on me, or whatever, was kind of like once you kind of got out of like those first couple hours and stuff, whatever, where you're kind of like walking around that town or whatever, doing little side quests and stuff. That's when it's kind of like, okay, But like the big set piece and story moments and stuff, whatever, that stuff was super dope and super fun. And like I said, I look forward to hopefully getting back to it in the near future, especially with the sequel, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, coming out early in 2024. So yeah. And the last one I wanted to shout out for like old games that I got into this year is Hyper Light Drifter. Now, this game is one that I've heard the name of for many years. Um, but I just never really knew too much of what it was and stuff. And so recently they announced, what is it called? Hyper Light. I think it's Hyper Light Breaker is the sequel that is coming out in the next year or two. Yeah, Hyper Light Breaker. So they announced that recently or whatever, and I was like, man, maybe I should check it out or whatever. So just like Cult of the Lamb, I got this and Cult of the Lamb at the same time because they were both on like a really good sale. And so I was like, you know what? Let me give this game a shot. And so it's kind of like an open world, kind of like top down isometric kind of view or whatever, to where you're playing this as this character is kind of like going through this like kind of like wasteland, trying to gather, from what I remember, I think like these is it artifacts, or it's something that you're trying to find basically. And I don't know, it is just like my type of game, my type of vibe, because you're just kind of like just like toss that into the world, and you're just going around and exploring. Like, so you got your different powers and stuff. You can unlock different areas and stuff. Lots of secrets and stuff, which I love. But yeah, Hyper Light Drifter, really dope game. Like I said, I'm very glad that I finally gave it a shot. Now, moving on to the games this year. Now, I'm gonna just kind of just shout out a few games that I started playing but didn't get a chance to finish yet. So starting off with these games. Hold on. So the first one, which was kind of shadow dropped earlier this year, Hi-Fi Rush. Now, Hi-Fi Rush is a new game that's surprising in so many ways because for one, it is from Tango, I think Tango Studios, Tango GameWorks, the studio who did the horror games. Uh, Lord, Evil Within. Forgot the name of it, Evil Within. So seeing them go from that to this very colorful, um, action rhythm type of game, whatever, like some of like the most unique and beautiful art styles because it looks like a freaking cartoon. Because like when my wife passed by or was in the room watching me play, or whatever, she was like, "Is that a show or a game?" And I was like, "No, it's a game." And then my son Vash, he loved playing it and stuff as well. He even just loved sitting next to me and just like listen to the music and stuff, whatever. Because like I said, it's just like a super fun and colorful game that was super dope to play through and stuff. So, but yeah, it was just like a really unique game. So yeah, so shout out to Hi-Fi Rush. I definitely need to go back and finish it. 'Cause I think I'm like on like just like the last little couple hours left on it or whatever. Uh, Next up is a season, a letter to the future. This is another one that was just super up my alley, super soothing. Just like putting on my headphones, diving into this game, into this world, because you basically follow this young lady who is um, basically it seems like the world is about to end, and so you're traveling around the country, around the world, recording things for the future, and so you have like a voice recorder, so you're capturing sounds from like animals to just like nature and stuff, from like rain and thunderstorms and just different things you're recording the sounds for. And you also have like a camera, so you're taking pictures of different things, whatever. So it is just like such a peaceful and kind of like melancholic situation, because like I said, that this is seemingly going to like the end of the world, or at least maybe like the end of this era, because you're creating like a journal and stuff for somebody in the future to see what the state of the world was at this point in time. So that was really dope one that I want to get back to. Next one is Under the Waves. Now, Under the Waves is kind of like another like really good like tone setter type of game, to where you're basically playing as this former deep sea diver who seems like he's going through some type of like life stuff. I don't know if whether he lost his wife or partner left him, or I don't know what really is going on with that. But basically, he's taking a job to go deep sea diving and do some research and things like that or whatever. And so you basically just like you're living in this like deep sea kind of like a facility or whatever, and you have your submarine that you kind of go out on expeditions and missions and stuff on, from finding stuff to doing repairs on stuff underwater. You get out the submarine and you just get to swim around and stuff, but you have oxygen tank that you have to kind of monitor and stuff, whatever. It is just like really, it really puts you in that setting, because like I said, like you're in the deep sea, so there are like stretches of just like emptiness and no sound, and like it's like having my headphones on, you just kind of hear like the sound of the water passing by. And like I said, just kind of like seeing this story of this guy trying to overcome some type of like life hardship that he's gone through, whatever. Was really really interesting. And last one that I want to shout out for just like stuff I didn't finish from this year is Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Now, that is one that truly was something magical in so many ways because not only because it's one of like the first like really new 2D Mario games in a long time, but just like how trippy and unique the game is and stuff from like the Wonder Seed mechanic to where, well, first of all, there is so much new stuff in this game from like them having a wider and bigger roster of characters for you to play as finally. Like you could play, of course, all you know the classics Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, all like a few different Toad and Toadettes and a handful of Yoshis and also Princess Daisy. Very cool cast that you can play as or whatever. Got a handful of new power ups and stuff. And the personal thing for me, whatever, is just like getting to play it with my son, Vash, because while me and him have been playing games and stuff here and there over the years, this is just something special. Like this is kind of like one of like the first like Mario games, kind of sort of that we can like truly play in co-op and stuff. So and he's pretty much taken over. He many like a couple months back, he pretty much took over the Switch from me, or whatever. So he's played way further, and he's only 6. He just turned 6 a month ago. So he was playing it. And got super deep into it or whatever. He's playing through levels and stuff that I hadn't even seen yet and stuff, but he's in love with it. So I love it for the fact that this is going to be like a core memory for him, hopefully, of, you know, his kind of like really big first like 2D Mario game will be this one at the age of 5 turning into 6 and stuff. So yeah, so I love it for that extra layer of having that memory with my son Vash on playing this game and stuff. So yeah, so that's it for the stuff I didn't finish. Now I'm gonna try to attempt to put these in a order of sorts for games that I played this year, um, and finished that I really really enjoyed. So yeah, so let's let me take a quick break and I'm gonna dive into that. Okay, so starting off, so I have 6 games. So let me no 5. One, two. Yeah, so 5 games. So the 5 games that really stuck with me throughout this year for a multitude of reasons. Number 5, uh, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now this one, so I really enjoyed Fallen Order when that came out. 2019 or somewhere around there. And so, but you know, it has some clunkiness and stuff, whatever. But it was a solid foundation. Well, Jedi Survivor, they took that core element from that first game and like really ramped it up to the next level. They made everything bigger, more in depth, and all that stuff. Whatever, to where you have multiple planets you're going to and exploring and stuff. You're getting more abilities and more upgrades and unlocks and stuff. And yeah, it was just like really dope. I really enjoy like the big set piece moments and just how like all your different powers and abilities were just you're just getting more and more stuff and you're like running through environments, training and like wall running, air dashing, phasing through stuff. Like it was super dope and super fun. And I look forward to whenever they come out with the next Star Wars Jedi game because, like I said, Fallen Order was a solid foundation, and Survivor they just took it up another notch. And so, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing another one of these in who knows how many years. Now I will say I hope that they do kind of maybe like better iron out some of like the technical stuff, because like overall the game was pretty smooth for me, but there were a couple of kind of like frame rate stutters and stuff. And like I said, this is me playing it, at launch or whatever. So maybe they might have ironed out some of that stuff. But that was kind of like my only complaint. But I enjoyed also that they had a wider variety of customization and stuff, from like the different hairstyles and haircuts and facial hair and stuff, whatever that you can give Cal, and the different outfits and cloaks and jackets and stuff, whatever. So I just enjoyed that they really expanded a lot of the customization options and stuff in the game. So yeah, so shout out to Jedi Survivor, my number 5 game. So next up, and I'm debating on which way to put this one, because I kind of have one game at number 4, but debating on switching it. Nah, I'll leave it like this. So number 4 for me is Hogwarts Legacy. Now, this game. So first of all, we knew it was coming. From a while back, it got announced and stuff, whatever. But myself, on paper, I'm not necessarily like a super humongous Harry Potter fan. Now, I watched all the movies and stuff growing up, from childhood up until, adulthood and stuff, whatever. And I enjoyed the movies, okay, whatever, but I would never call myself like a diehard hardcore fan or whatever and stuff. So I was kind of like, I don't know about a game of it, but I'll never forget. I think it was like fall of last year, and I think this is kind of when I first started following this guy named Okami on Twitter. I think he was the first one I saw. He shared uh, a link, or he shared like an extended gameplay clip to where it showed the character running around and then like summoning their broom, just flying around the world, them getting their mount and stuff and like flying around through the world and fighting enemies and stuff, whatever. And I'm like, I was looking at the gameplay, and I'm like, man, on paper, I'm not like a die-hard Harry Potter fan, but I am a fan of fun open world games where you can just kind of just go around and explore at your leisure. Of course, like your Ghost of Tsushima's and Assassin's Creed's, Spider-Man type of games, those type of games. Mad Max, shout out to Mad Max. So yeah, so that's kind of like my bread and butter type of game. And then kind of like the final thing that like really really sold me is shout out to the homie Polo from Mike Check Waifu, the anime podcast. He streamed it on Twitch because he got the early access copy, and so I'm watching him play it. He's like a few hours in, and so first of all, the first day the game came out or whatever, he put like over 12 hours in that first day, because I had checked out the stream like later in the day, and I saw he had already played like 6 hours earlier in the day. He took a break and he was back, and he was a few hours into the second stream or stream or whatever. And I'm like, so I'm guessing you liking the game. He's like, dude, I'm loving it. And as I'm watching him play it and just the way he's playing or whatever, I'm like, Polo is playing how your boy Rob plays. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this game. And literally, like I said, once again, not to sound like a broken record, as somebody who is not like a super hardcore fan, I was blown away by this game, because the size, scope, and the attention to detail in this game was jaw dropping on so many levels. Because, like, first of all, that opening, so first of all, getting to customize your character and them having a variety of customizations from, from faces to skin color to hairstyles and stuff. I was like, okay, they really in their bag and putting some love and care and attention into this character customization and stuff. And so that was something that stood out. And then the kind of like opening section of the game and kind of like the craziness with that was super dope. And then um the other thing I really appreciated from that is when you first get into the Hogwarts castle and I got a mission mark or whatever, wake up in my room and there's like, okay, hey, go to this, objective or whatever. When I left my room and I saw I'm going down multiple flights of stairs, I'm like, can I go into all these rooms? So I went floor by floor and I was able to go into every bedroom, every bathroom, turn on every faucet, go into every bathroom stall, flush every toilet, everything. And I was like, the level of detail in just the Hogwarts castle, like honestly, they could have just did a game just in the castle because like I said, it was literally scoped out for the actual size of that building in the movies and stuff. And so like all the hidden chambers and secret rooms and all the little secret nooks and crannies and stuff, whatever. And then you get outside of the castle and it's just like a huge world with so many secrets and hidden areas and things to fight and encounter and stuff, whatever. And yes, on paper, after a while, the combat and stuff is pretty basic. You're kind of just like spamming attacks and stuff, whatever. But it was still just so fun to just be in that world, live it, and explore and stuff, whatever. So that's why Hogwarts Legacy made it up onto the number 4 spot of my favorite games that I played this year. So next up is a game that I had some faith would be good when it came out, and I'm happy that it was so good. So number 3 is Cocoon. Now, Cocoon is a game by some of the developers that worked on some games that I enjoyed back in the day, Limbo and Inside. Now, if you've never checked out those 2 games and you want nice, short, sweet games, that's kind of like a small, kind of like a adventure, kind of like more so kind of like puzzle type of games where like you're going puzzle platformers, I guess is the best way to kind of describe those or whatever. But really enjoyed those back in the day. So when I heard that, hey, some of the people that made that started a new studio and made this new thing called Cocoon, I was like, okay, I got to check it out. And I really enjoyed this game. So this is also kind of like a side-scrolling, kind of like a isometric view puzzle type of game, to where you kind of play it as this character that kind of looks like a type of bug. And basically, the hook of this game is that you are basically kind of like going from worlds within worlds to solve these different puzzles and stuff. And like I said, it has like a really cool and unique aesthetic to it. And the setting is very interesting. And like I said, it is just like a really good looking game. The sound design is super fantastic. And the puzzles are super fun and interesting. So yeah, Cocoon is one that I really enjoyed and definitely really stuck with me. And I look forward to seeing whatever the next game that this studio puts out is. And also, if you're interested in seeing what the gameplay of it looks like, there's some gameplay of it on my YouTube channel. So go check out my YouTube channel at Danny to Talk to see what the gameplay of this looks like. So, because it is super dope. So, next up, number 2 for me is kind of a no-brainer, and that game is Spider-Man 2. Now, this one and number 1 could have been interchangeable or whatever, but Spider-Man 2 lands at number 2 for me. First of all, those of y'all watching the video, y'all see my very dope controller, limited edition controller I got for the game when it came out. But yeah, and I'm not gonna go into any story stuff, whatever, because I did a whole podcast episode talking about the story and stuff of the game, whatever. But I'll just say Insomniac continues to impress and knock things out of the park. I love Spider-Man 2018. I loved Miles Morales that came out in 2020. And Spider-Man 2 continues that tradition of fantastic games to where they just continue to build upon the foundation that they have set with the last two games and stuff. And I just really enjoyed, even though, yes, it is the same city, they expanded it out some more and getting to play as both Peter and Miles, and them both having that core foundation of their old abilities, and then both of them getting new branches of powers and abilities and stuff. And I loved how this game you get to play as more. I won't get into the spoilers order, but you get to play as more than just Peter and Miles. So getting to play as some other characters and stuff, whatever, was super dope. The set piece moments were fantastic. And I feel like the game kind of took place in kind of like 3 story arcs or whatever that were pretty dope and interesting. And the game was like way more brutal and violent than I expected it going into it or whatever. But overall, I really loved and enjoyed that game. So yeah, Spider-Man 2, freaking loved it and can't wait to play more. And of course, looking forward to seeing what they cook up with the Wolverine whenever that comes out in a couple of years. So, number one, the number one game. So, the game that stuck with me the most and why I made it my number one is Sea of Stars. Now, this is another one. I have lots of gameplay video and stuff on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. But this game was just so freaking awesome. Now this is from Sabotage Studio, the same studio who created the Messenger 1 and 2. This game takes place, I think, thousands of years before, and it's a whole different style and type of game compared to those two games. So Sea of Stars is like and granted, I'm not like a super expert on turn-based RPGs, but I can tell that it is a love letter to those old school turn-based RPGs, kind of like Chrono Trigger, which is one of the few and rare ones that I played back in the day. And so Sea of Stars, and I also gotta say shout out to them because I don't know how they work their magic, but they it was on all platforms, but they also put it on Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra at the same time. I don't know if I've ever seen a game that has been on both services at the same time at launch. And so that definitely kind of helped put it on more radars and give it easier access to try out or whatever. But yeah, Sea of Stars was fantastic. And just like everything from the visuals of it to the sound, the music was awesome. The cast of characters, because you get to meet and have so many characters across the game that join your party and stuff. I think it ends up being maybe like 6 or 7 total that kind of like come and go, so to speak. The variety of locations and enemies and stuff that you go to. And I talked about it in the episode how I feel like somebody at that team might be a fan of One Piece because literally there are so many like areas and stuff whatever that feel like One Piece location because it's like we freaking went to like underwater like freaking Fishman Island. There's like a future island area. There's this freaking like Egghead. There's like a ancient kingdom thing like Alabasta and a water kingdom like Water 7 and just so many cool places that like I said just like spoke to my heart as a One Piece fan as well. But yeah, all in all, like it was a fantastic and meaty journey. I think it took me like about 30 hours to play. Um, which I feel like for like most of these games that I played or that I listed as like my favorite games, whatever, for the most part, were just the right lengths. Cause I think, cause even kind of going back, like I said, like Sea of Stars was about 30 something. Spider-Man 2 was about 30 something. Cocoon, that was under 10. Hogwarts Legacy, I think I put like 40 plus after hours in that. And Jedi Survivor, I think I also put like 30 plus in that. So, but yeah, so Sea of Stars, man, just top to bottom was such a fantastic game. Pulled at the heartstrings and so many like twists and turns with characters and things that happen and moments and stuff. So that is why it is my favorite game this year and one of the most favorable things that I played this year. So yeah, so that's kind of it for my quote unquote kind of like game of the year kind of rundown or favorite games that I played this year. So before I wrap up, I kind of want to touch on a couple other kind of like gaming related things. I do want to take a second to just kind of, I guess, kind of just speaking in general, look into like next year, or whatever. I definitely want to do better about playing more games through completion, like kind of just like focusing on fewer games at a time and just kind of like playing through them and stuff. I'll be able to also kind of keep better track of my gaming time and stuff, whatever. At least on PlayStation, because um, this year I finally uh, I kind of like locked down my PS5 to where my son Vash can't play on my account no more, whatever. So I made him his own offline account so he can still access whatever stuff I've downloaded onto my PS5. And that's worked out because for one, I had one too many times where he, for some reason, sometimes he just loves starting games over. And so there are some games, particularly my Rayman Legends save that I've had for over 10 years now, that he almost deleted and overridden. But luckily I had a backup cloud save that I brought back down. But yeah, I was like, okay, you need your own profile that you can play around with or whatever. So, but yes, hopefully next year going forward, I'll be able to have more consistent and better look at my gaming stuff, whatever, at least on PS5. Switch is still gonna be kind of over the place because of how that profile stuff works. Um, but yeah, so next up, I kind of want to shout out. This year, I feel like they kind of knocked things out of the park with uh, with game adaptations in like shows and movies. And I'm not ranking these or anything, whatever, but just kind of just shouting them out. Because most of these I think I talked about in review this year. Now, one I will say I have not watched yet, which is crazy to think about, but I have not watched the Super Mario Brothers animated movie and stuff. I haven't checked that out yet. I plan to soon. Um, but we got the Last of Us HBO series, which is super fantastic. Like me, my wife, and my oldest son, uh, we kind of was enjoying that as a family and stuff, whatever. So like my oldest son, he was like, "Yo, when's season two coming? When's season two?" But but yeah, so that was done fantastically, and I like how they kind of changed and switched up some stuff, whatever, to kind of make it its own thing. So I loved that. Uh, the Twisted Metal TV show actually ended up being pretty decent. As somebody who has no affinity or connection with the Twisted Metal games from back in the day, it was pretty solid. And so I definitely will check out the next season whenever that comes out. The Gran Turismo movie was really interesting as well. That's another one. I'm not too big into driving games and stuff, but because it was loosely based on a true story, um, that was like a really cool and interesting way to approach that. And so I'm glad that they did it that way or whatever, because it was pretty good. And then what was the last one? Oh, they did more Castlevania seasons of the kind of like the animated series, but I still got to go back and finish up the last like couple seasons of the first run before I even dive into this one. So, but yeah, so I just want to just give a quick shout out to those shows and stuff for how they were adapted. And last thing is, I just kind of want to give a shout out to just some kind of like the big kind of like other like headlines and just stuff that kind of happened in the industry this year. So this year we also got PlayStation revealed like some new hardware and stuff. So we got the new PlayStation 5 Slim models and stuff, which we feel like if with that stuff being revealed to be real, then it kind of more or less confirms that we're going to get a PlayStation 5 Pro version probably next year, because these Slim models and the Portal and all that stuff was leaked a year plus ago, so they ended up being real. So we'll see. PlayStation Portal came out, and that is like high on my list of things that I hope to get when I get some extra money and stuff saved up. Because while some people are fussing and complaining about it or whatever, it's like, hey, if you don't want the device, then don't buy it. But for me and my living situation and stuff, this is the type of device that I want. A streaming device that I can use in my home or somewhere else I'm going to be stationary with a good internet connection and stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that and giving my own thoughts and review on it someday in the coming months, hopefully. So yeah, so that came out. Along with that, there was also a new Steam Deck OLED, but Mario from the games got a new voice. So Charles Martinet kind of more or less retired as the original voice of Mario. He's been the voice since the early 90s and stuff. So they got a new voice actor for that. So shout out to them. Let me see what other stuff. Jim Ryan, he's leaving Sony or PlayStation as the CEO. Don't really care too much. We finally got closure on the Xbox / Microsoft ABK deal, the Activision Blizzard King purchase. So that whole company is now part of Microsoft Studios. So after the last like 2 years of seemingly, or at least over a year of court cases and stuff, whatever, that deal is finally done. But of course, there was a lot of collateral damage from product line leaks to corporate emails and stuff, and just all type of documents and stuff got leaked from this stuff, whatever. So yeah, it was a crazy event, but I'm glad that the court case is done, so we can all move on to other stuff. There were other big leaks and stuff, whatever. Like Insomniac just got hacked a few days ago and leaked a lot of stuff with Wolverine gameplay and stuff got out there, and a lot of their potential roadmap for like the next 10 years got leaked and stuff, whatever. So that kind of sucked. We finally got the reveal of Grand Theft Auto 6 finally. So that was very dope and cool to finally get that game revealed, but very sad that it's not coming out until freaking 2025. What else? We got the official confirmation that E3 is dead. So E3 is done, not coming back. So end of an era. But we kind of know it. It's kind of been slowly dying over the last few years. But it was just kind of like the ESA finally came out this year and was like, "Hey, we're done. We're not gonna try to bring it back anytime soon." So that's it for E3. So. And yeah, that's kind of like it for like in like a general nutshell for like some of like the biggest news stories this year. Like I said, all in all, speaking as a fan, as a gamer, I feel like there was something for everybody to play. There was some type of game for every type of gamer out there, regardless of if you play on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, whatever the case may be. There are so many games to play and so many ways to play them. and stuff. So because technology is steadily advancing, so we're able to play stuff through streaming and on mobile and yada yada yada. So, but yeah, all in all, very dope, very memorable year, and I hope that y'all enjoyed going on this trip down memory lane with me as I kind of like said, just kind of like took time to just look back and reflect on this wild year in gaming. But I think that's gonna do it. Like I said, I have some stuff I'm gonna kind of finish playing as we kind of wrap up the year. But yeah, and I'll probably do like a future episode. Or I'll go ahead and do it just really quickly, whatever. Oh, actually, I'll also kind of give a quick shout out to God of War, uh, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC that they came out a couple weeks ago, because this was a free update, free release, and a lot of people when they saw the trailer was like, they're just doing another roguelike that they're doing in the Last of Us remaster. But I've only played like a couple hours so far, or whatever. But man, this has been so much more than meets the eye, and it is a must-play addition to God of War Ragnarok that you definitely need to play. So I definitely look forward to continuing to chip away at that and stuff. So, but yeah. So I think last thing I want to do, whatever, just kind of like looking ahead. Might as well, since I'm already here. uh, let's kind of take like a few moments to kind of look at some. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to keep track of timestamps and stuff of some of like the big games that at least have dates on them that I'm looking forward to early next year. That, like I said, maybe to put on y'all's radar. Like I said, just kind of just quick shout out some of these. So that Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Now, I don't know if I'll fully buy that one day one, but they are putting out a demo for it January 11th. So I just talked about earlier in this show about me loving some demos. So I'm gonna check that out, and that may or may not sway me to maybe picking up that game, or at least maybe seeing if it might be something worth purchasing later on down the road. January 19th, Last of Us 2 Remastered. Now, one thing I appreciate with them is that if you already own Last of Us 2, it's just $10. And I don't care about like the visual updates or whatever. I'm interested in checking out that roguelike mode. And also, I'm interested in checking out these kind of lost levels. So they're adding in some levels that they had cut from the game originally with commentary and stuff of like, hey, this is what this level was, or what it was supposed to be, and why we cut it, or what our plans and stuff was for it. So that stuff is like very interesting to me. So looking forward to checking that out. Might not be day one or whatever, but maybe at some point I'm gonna check it out. These next two are games I don't really plan to play myself or whatever, but just to put on y'all's radar. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, so pretty much the 8th Yakuza game. That's a series I still hope someday to maybe try out and play. But yeah, so that's coming out that day. Tekken 8 is also coming out that same day, so we'll see. Going into February. Now, the first one that I'm looking at that I'm interested in checking out, and y'all might be able to put some clues together from the conversations from the show, but that would be on February 2nd, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Yeah, that's all I kind of say on that or whatever, is that I want to give it a honest, fair shot, and I don't know if I'm gonna get it day one or not, but if I have money to spare, I'm gonna give it a shot. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League coming out early February. Another one I'm very interested in checking out is Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. Now, this is a game from Don't Nod, the studio who originally created the Life is Strange series. And so I look forward to seeing the story that this game is going to have. But this game is going to have a lot more uh, action focused than a lot of their previous games. So that's something else I'm kind of interested in checking out for that reason. So this, and then the other one that came out recently, Jusant. That one I'm interested in checking out too. But yeah, Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. Helldivers 2, probably won't play it, but just to put it on people's radar and stuff. What else? Skull and Bones is finally getting a release. I have no interest in playing that. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out end of February. Um, let's see. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake. I might go back through that game. I haven't played that since it came out over 10 years ago. So maybe get my heart broken in 4K because it originally came out on PS3. So, and then let's see, March. So let me see. March. Rise of the Roman. Rise of the Ronin is the top game for that month. Probably like the top game for like early next year that I'm looking forward to. The kind of action, open world action type of game from Team Ninja and stuff. So kind of like Samurai's open world. I mentioned how much I love Ghost of Tsushima. So right up my alley. So looking forward to playing that. Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out the same day. So a lot of people have been waiting many years for a sequel for that game to come out. Alone in the Dark, I don't know. Not to be on spooky type of games or whatever, but who knows? I know there's like a prequel demo that I still plan to play at some point. So yeah, and I think the last one I'm gonna shout out is in April, and that is that Tales of Kenzera Zao. Now this was one that spoke to my heart because at the Game Awards, one of like the creative minds behind this game is the guy who is the voice actor of Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins, the main character, one of my favorite games, one of my favorite Assassin's Creed main characters. It's a game that he did as a tribute to his father and to his cultural background, and it's kind of like a 2D action type of game, kind of like the Ori and the Will of the Wisp, or like a Hollow Knight style type of game, but kind of with maybe like an African flair. So yeah, and that's kind of it for like stuff that has dates or whatever. And like I said, for like early next year. So there'll be plenty of time for me to talk about more stuff that's coming out later in the year. But it's getting late for me, and I want to kind of get this wrapped up and chill before I got to go to bed. So thank y'all so much for listening and or watching. Like I said, it has been a super great year as a fan of gaming this year. And I look forward to, finishing up some games I've already been playing and then playing some of the stuff I talked about. But yeah, y'all let me know what were some of y'all favorite games this year, regardless of if it's stuff that just released this year or if, like me, you discover some older games for the first time this year. Let me know what were some of your favorite things that you played this year. Whether if you're on YouTube, just comment in the YouTube comments, or if you're on other platforms, you can find me everywhere at Dat Needs to Talk. Feel free to DM me or tweet at me, message me on IG, whatever the case may be. I'll respond to your messages and stuff. I'm always down to talk with people and stuff. So, but yeah, this has been fun, and I look forward to seeing how things go next year. So, but that's gonna do it for me for now. Thank you so much for watching, and as I always say, treat yourself to something nice. Watch some treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime and TV, play some video games, and live your best life. And with that, I'm out. Check out the rest of my 2023 favorites episodes this week. I'll be doing podcast episodes for my favorite anime and manga, as well as my favorite TV shows and movies as well. So check out all that stuff. lots of Dynasty Talk content coming out as we head straight for the end of the year. But yeah, y'all have an awesome day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.